They thought forgetting you would be easy. That is how most people think in the beginning. Confident, detached, certain that emotions disappear the moment distance begins. And maybe for a while, they truly believed it. Because the human mind has a strange way of protecting itself from emotional loss. When someone leaves, the ego reacts before the heart does. The ego says, "I'll be fine. There are other people. It wasn't that deep. I'll move on quickly." And in the beginning, those words feel believable because reality has not arrived yet. At first, separation feels manageable. Distractions exist. Pride exists. The emotional shock has not fully settled into the nervous system yet. So they continue living normally, talking normally, acting unaffected. And from the outside, it almost looks convincing. But emotional truth rarely reveals itself immediately. Real emotional impact unfolds slowly, quietly, like rain gathering before a storm. Because people often underestimate what someone truly meant to them, until that person becomes permanently absent from their daily emotional world. That is when reality begins its work. Not suddenly, gradually. At first, it appears in small moments. A silence that feels strangely heavy. A habit that suddenly feels incomplete. An instinct to reach for your presence mentally, only to remember you are no longer there. And those moments create emotional cracks in the illusion of detachment. The illusion that forgetting you would be simple. Because forgetting someone emotionally significant is never simple. Especially when their presence became intertwined with emotional comfort, understanding, routine, identity. And this is the part many people fail to understand about human attachment. You do not only miss people physically, you miss the emotional atmosphere they created inside your life. The version of yourself that existed around them. The emotional stability they unknowingly provided. The invisible comfort of simply knowing they were there. When those things disappear, the mind begins noticing absence everywhere. Not dramatically, psychologically. That is when reality starts hitting them. But the ego still resists at first. Because ego hates admitting emotional dependence. So instead of confronting the truth directly, they distract themselves harder. More conversations, more noise, more temporary connections. Anything to avoid sitting alone with emotional silence long enough to feel what is really happening internally. But distraction has limits. Eventually, silence arrives. And silence is dangerous for emotionally unresolved people. Because silence removes performance. There are no audiences during silence. No distractions. No emotional escape routes. Only memory. And memory has a brutal way of exposing emotional truth. Suddenly, they remember things they once overlooked completely. The way you understood them without long explanations. The way your presence softened difficult days. The emotional safety they casually received without appreciating its rarity. And those memories feel different now. Heavier. More emotional. Because absence changes perspective. While you were there, your value felt ordinary through familiarity. Now, your absence creates contrast. And contrast reveals importance. This is why emotional realization often arrives too late. Humans frequently recognize value only after comfort disappears. Not because they are evil, not because they never cared, but because familiarity creates blindness. When someone becomes part of your emotional routine, the mind starts assuming they will always remain there. And certainty kills appreciation quietly, until uncertainty replaces it. Then suddenly, everything changes. Now your absence becomes emotionally loud. The places you once occupied mentally feel empty. Conversations with other people feel strangely shallow. Certain moments trigger memories unexpectedly, and without realizing it, they begin comparing everything to you. Not intentionally, automatically, because meaningful emotional connections become psychological reference points. Once someone experiences emotional depth genuinely, the mind unconsciously measures future experiences against it. And this is where reality becomes painful, because now, They begin noticing something unsettling. Nothing feels the same. Not the conversations. Not the comfort. Not the emotional connection. And slowly, the confidence they once had about forgetting you begins collapsing internally. This is when regret quietly enters the picture. Not dramatic regret. Subtle regret. The kind that appears late at night. The kind that hides behind random memories. The kind that whispers, "Maybe I underestimated what they meant to me." And once that thought appears, it rarely disappears completely, because emotional truth becomes difficult to suppress once awareness begins. Now they replay moments differently. Conversations they once ignored now carry emotional weight. Your patience feels rarer in memory. Your loyalty feels more significant. Your emotional depth becomes clearer through distance. And the painful irony is, the farther away you become emotionally, the more visible your value becomes psychologically. This creates emotional conflict inside them. Part of them still wants to appear detached, still wants to protect pride, still wants control. But another part, the honest part, can no longer deny reality. You mattered more than they realized. And that realization changes everything internally. Because now they are no longer grieving only your absence. They are grieving their own blindness. The blindness that convinced them losing you would have no lasting emotional consequence. But emotional consequences always arrive eventually. The heart processes loss slower than the ego. The ego reacts immediately. The heart reacts in silence. And silence always catches up. That is why some people seem fine immediately after losing someone, only to emotionally collapse months later. Because delayed realization is deeply human. At first, freedom feels exciting. Distance feels empowering. Detachment feels possible. But then life continues. And reality slowly removes illusion. They begin experiencing moments they instinctively want to share with you. Moments where your absence feels emotionally unnatural. Moments where they realize certain emotional experiences only felt complete because you were part of them. This realization becomes haunting, not because they cannot survive without you. Humans survive almost everything, but because survival is not the same as emotional fulfillment. And once someone loses emotionally meaningful connection, the emotional emptiness becomes difficult to ignore permanently, especially when the original connection carried depth. Depth is rare. Many people experience attraction, excitement, temporary chemistry, but very few experience emotional understanding profound enough to alter their inner world. And when they lose someone who provided that, reality eventually forces acknowledgement, no matter how much pride delays it. This is when the memories become persistent. You appear unexpectedly in their thoughts, during quiet drives, during lonely nights, during emotionally vulnerable moments where distraction fails. And suddenly, the person they thought they could forget easily becomes emotionally unforgettable. Not because you manipulated them, not because you forced attachment, but because emotional significance leaves traces inside people. Invisible traces, psychological fingerprints. And those fingerprints remain long after physical separation begins. That is why certain people continue affecting us deeply in silence. Because emotionally important people become part of internal emotional structure itself. You shaped how they experienced comfort, connection, safety, understanding. And once those emotional patterns are attached to someone deeply enough, replacing them becomes far harder than expected. This realization humbles people, especially those who once believed attachment would protect them emotionally, because eventually, they confront the truth. You were not just another person. You became emotionally meaningful in ways they failed to understand until absence forced awareness upon them. And awareness without access creates pain, because now they understand your value more clearly than before. But understanding arrives too late to recreate what once existed naturally. This is why emotional regret feels so heavy. Not because people only miss what they lost, but because they miss realizing it too late. The mind tortures itself with hindsight. Why didn't I appreciate them properly? Why did I think they would always remain? Why did I underestimate the emotional impact they had on my life? And these questions echo internally long after separation. Because unresolved emotional realization creates haunting, not dramatic haunting, quiet haunting, the kind hidden behind everyday routines, the kind invisible to everyone except the person experiencing it. Meanwhile, you continue changing too, because absence transforms both people. While they are learning your value through loss, you are learning your value through survival. And survival changes perspective. You stop needing external validation to recognize your emotional depth. You stop chasing people who fail to see your worth in real time. You stop shrinking your emotional presence to make others comfortable. And that evolution makes the distance between you even greater psychologically. Because now, the version of you they miss no longer exists exactly as before. Time changed you. Pain refined you. Silence strengthened you. And perhaps that is the final tragedy of delayed realization. By the time someone fully understands your emotional significance, you may already be emotionally gone. Not physically, internally, detached from the hope that they would eventually see you clearly. And nothing hurts more than realizing someone's value after they already learned how to live without your recognition. That is when reality truly hits. Not during separation, not during pride, not during distraction, but during the quiet moment where they finally admit to themselves, I thought forgetting them would be easy, but I was completely wrong. And maybe that is one of the deepest truths about human connection. People rarely understand emotional impact immediately. Sometimes, the heart needs silence before it understands what it truly lost. So now I want to ask you something. Have you ever thought you could forget someone easily, only to realize later they affected you far more deeply than you expected? Or do you think someone out there underestimated your emotional impact until reality finally hit them? Comment below. I want to hear your story. And if this spoke to something real inside you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Silent Ego.